Leisa Holland-Nelson, co-host of Culture Club HTX.
And I'm Shavonnah Schreiber, the other co-host of Culture Club HTX. And we're so excited to have you here with us today, primarily because thankfully, it's not just me and Leisa. We have a guest, a special guest. Who's our special guest? Special guest, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Jarett, Dillard, formerly with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and looking forward to having an intriguing conversation with you two ladies.
Okay, well, first of all,
and Texas Football Hall of Famer.
Yes.
We kind of need to say that.
I was just about to say, okay, hold up. Why are you not saying the full story? We need the full story.
I'm a man of mystery.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
Okay. Well, we're going to get right into what I think is one of our most exciting topics today, which is NFL Free Agency 2024.
And Coach Nelson here is having a heart attack over the Texans. So you're going to calm me down, I understand.
I think I am, because I think the Texans have done a decent job so far in free agency, and then we still have the draft, and there's still a lot to kind of be unveiled here. So I am not too critical over the Texans now. The Dallas Cowboys, I think that they're in like some tough water.
I mean, as they are always.
I think they're doing all right.
So tell us why. I also think that they did a decent job, but expand on that, Jarett. Why do you think that they did all right so far in this offseason?
Well, they retained Dalton Schultz. They have a young quarterback that has shown a lot of promise. Mm-hmm. So I think that's great. And then they've also brought in a number of other defensive linemen that I think is pretty good for the Texans. And I'm not a Texans fan, so you
Wait a minute.
Understand that.
Yeah, that we don't understand.
We don't understand.
I live in Houston. I love Houston, but I'm not a Texans fan. But I will go to Texans games. But I am a fan of D'Amico Ryan. And I'm a fan of the Houston culture. I think that the world just operates in a better light when the Astros win, the Texans win. If we can get the Rockets on the same page, we'll be ready to rock and roll. But I think that the Texans did a pretty decent job. I sense that they're slowly but surely building a pretty sound foundation for the Texans group.
And, I mean, to your point, this is just part one. So we are just past the free agency deadline. And so this is step one. We still have an entire draft to go. And so who do you think? Maybe not even who, but maybe who? Who do you think, if you could call D'Amico and say, hey, this is what you need to do to continue to build your team to be a championship team, who do we need to select? What do we need to do?
So that's a difficult question.
That's why I asked you.
It's difficult because I would need to be in the front office to know, what do the Texans need? You know, you have a lot of times that people want the top pick on the board, and the top pick on the board is maybe a great quarterback, but do we need a quarterback?
No. Well, we need a backup.
Well,
we have a backup.
But do you choose a backup in the first round, or do you choose a backup in your 2 4th-round picks, or maybe in your 4, 5, 7th-round picks? Who knows? I mean, Tom Brady was a 5th, 6th-round pick, and I thought that he turned out to be okay.
Yeah, we think he did okay.
So when you look at it through that lens, I think that we have to absolutely look at, what do the Texans need? Do I know? Absolutely not. I don't know what the front office is thinking. But with looking at you have a first round, we have a second round, third round, we have like 2 or 3 4th rounds, and then you have a number of 7th rounds. And I think those 4th and 7th rounds will probably be the guys that make more of an impact than that first round pick, whether it be a D lineman or an offensive lineman or whatever the case may be.
I have to agree with you on that. And this has been my theory, my hypothesis around all of this for a long time. I think not only do you get a better bargain, typically, if you can be strategic and wait to the later round, I think the players that you get end up playing with more heart because they're happy to be here, right? It's like, I'm just happy to be here, versus those first round picks.
I don't know. I don't mean to be the anti-whatever here, but I'm not sure we could do better than CJ and Will Anderson.
She loves CJ. We need to make sure.
Oh, this is CJ's corner you're in, by the way.
Yes.
It was going to be Coach Nelson's corner. Yeah. By the way, you don't know this, but Coach Nelson's the greatest football coach who never walked the sideline.
That's Coach Nelson. Leisa.
So anyway, it was going to be Coach Nelson's corner, but it's not. It's CJ's corner because I keep talking about him all the time. And she keeps sending him calendar invitations, and so far he hasn't shown up.
He hasn't shown up yet.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
You know, it isn't that I don't think playing with heart or down the line is better, or Tom Brady, 5th round, all that stuff. I just don't want to diss what you might be able to get in the first round.
No, absolutely.
That's fair. So, Jarett, you said I'm not in the front office, so you don't actually know. I mean, you have your opinion about it, as do we, but you can't say with a strong or high level of confidence exactly what they need to pick, right? Or who they need to pick. Is that right?
No, I do not. But I will say, from my experience in the NFL, I've seen teams that will pick the top selection purely based on, we don't want the divisional rivals to get them. So, it's a lot of politics in this election as well. Let's say C.J. Stroud, maybe the Tennessee Titans had a pick before the Texans. And the Titans are like, we don't want C.J., but Texans get him. And it works. But what if the Titans picked him up and they didn't play him, and you have this great talent just sitting on the bench? That happens year in, year out, where you are picking a player, not because of need, but based on, I don't want you to have it.
Just like dating rules apply. I say
absolutely.
Dating rules apply. Because it's the truth. Okay, so tell us about your experience in the NFL.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married, and I cannot talk about dating because if my wife were to hear it, she would absolutely.
Well, no, you definitely can't talk about dating while you're married. But what I do want to talk about is when you were in the NFL. Talk to us about that. In particular, when you were about to be drafted. You talked about the politics and how there's so many moving pieces that we don't always see. You did see, so talk to us.
Well, yes. No, I would say that I did the East-West Shrine game, and I was invited to the Senior Bowl. And I met with Jacksonville Jaguars. It was a 10-minute meeting. But then I met with San Fran. I met with the New York Jets, the Giants,
Can
the
you
Cowboys.
say that now? You can say that now, right? You couldn't say that then. Are they all secret meetings? It's like
No, I think I could. Yeah, speed dating. I had a speed dating with all of these teams. I think I want to say 15 to 20 teams. And the Jacksonville, I thought that was the least time that I spent with the team. And it ends up on draft day. I get drafted by the team that I had no thought of. I thought the Jets were drafting me. I 100% thought, I think I'm going to New York because I had the most conversation. We had a great conversation. We had this. It was so much back and forth and just good interview conversation. And then draft day comes and
you got ghosted.
I got ghosted.
Seriously, the Jets drafted before they got to you and they didn't pick you? Or Jacksonville was first and they snatched you away?
Well, I went 5th round, so everybody picked and they didn't pick me. So,
you and Tom Brady. I mean, this is not bad company.
I'm telling you. So, wait a minute. So, you have all these conversations. So, let's just be clear. Dating rules clearly do apply because you said I was not 90% certain. You said 100% certain that you were going to New York and then you didn't go?
Yes. When I say 100% certain, I mean, that was 100%, it's like that movie, 60% of the time I'm right, 100% of the time. And that's exactly, that's exactly what it was. I thought that I met with the Jets and the Jets called me when the draft started, like when the bell rung and they started the draft. Jets called me and said, hey, is this your number? We're really looking at you and we want to bring you in. And then the draft went on and I just was waiting for the time that the Jets would pick me up. But eventually, it came down to 5th round, the second day, and Jacksonville, Jack Del Rio called me, and Gene Smith, the general manager at the time, called me, and I said, okay, I'm going to Jacksonville. Had nothing, I didn't know anything about Jacksonville.
Did you know where Jacksonville was?
Not exactly, but
I don't think a lot of people know where it is.
No,
I don't know if I know where it is.
No, I think Jacksonville's a great town. I think that if Houston was positioned in the same position as Jacksonville, with the river that goes right through, with a nice beach, nothing against Galveston.
Here we go.
But with a nice beach that's right there 20 minutes away, if not less than that, I think that Jacksonville's a beautiful town. But it's a blue-collar city. I like Jacksonville. Nothing but respect for Jacksonville. And I think the cost of living is, I wouldn't even say commensurate to Houston. I think is actually a little less.
Oh, so your money goes further.
Absolutely.
Okay, but you're here now. So let's talk about, now you've given us your experience that day, you're waiting. Okay, then day 2 comes, you get drafted by a team that you weren't even thinking would pick you up just because you hadn't had much conversation with them. What would you tell the players that are in this position right now? Like, what should they be thinking about? What advice would you give?
Well, it is funny that you asked that. I recently went to the Rice Universities, Rice football team's practice, and I saw Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, who is currently in the draft, and he's in the same position as me. He met with all these teams. He doesn't know where he's going, and I said, you'll never know. Nobody knows. And he has an older brother and a dad to explain it to him, but it was kind of refreshing to speak to him about it. So right now, you just kind of ride the wave. Who knows where you're going to be? I would honestly hope that you go to a place that has no state tax. That's really ultimately what you need to
that's
focus on.
Super important. Thank you.
So you are filling us in on what I like to call the game behind the game. So there is what we see, what most people see as it relates to a draft, and you're like, okay, yes, you have players, they say, yes, I'm declaring, I'm going to the draft, and then you have teams that, I think the way people think it typically works is the team says, okay, we need a quarterback, we need a defensive end, etc. But that's not how it works, as you just started to break down for us. There are politics, there's a game behind the game.
Absolutely.
So now you're in Jacksonville. You're on the team. You're rocking and rolling. What's the game behind the game? Fill us in. What else? Tell us more.
I will tell you this. Being in Jacksonville in that first mini camp, I realized that I went to the coach and I asked him, and I asked my agent after mini camp, I asked them directly, why did they draft me? Because everybody is good.
What's the NFL? I mean,
if you got there.
What did you think you were doing?
But I didn't have, there's a niche that you have to develop. You have to separate yourself. Now, I wasn't 6'5", running a 4.2 40. There's certain guys that
But you are fast. You're fast.
Yes, but I mean, not fast enough.
Okay.
First downs and out of bounds. That was my motto. So
first downs and out of bounds. I'm adding that to my repertoire.
Absolutely. So no, everybody's good. I want all the young guys to go in and recognize that if you're drafted and you go in there, do not think this is college. This is professional. This is a lot of you have adults with mortgages and kids, vying for a spot because they want to continue their lifestyle, and everybody's working. They're going to work together. Nobody's, operating against you, but everybody's good, and you will have those thoughts in your head to discuss and address whether you're capable or not.
Are you good enough?
Am I good enough?
Well, I hope you will. I hope you have the humility to recognize what's around you. Not everyone would.
Absolutely.
You understand.
I think you'll get flushed out of the NFL real quick if you do not have the humility, as you mentioned.
I think that's super important.
First down and out of bounds. Wait a minute. No, that's the same,
First round, out of bounds.
So tell me what that means. So when I say it, I can...
That means I catch a ball, I get first down, or if I'm not going to get the first down, I try to make sure I get to the sideline. First down and out of bounds.
What does it mean from like a cool standpoint? So I can say it.
It's so you don't get hurt.
Okay.
It's first down, out of bounds.
He's like, it is what it is.
It is. Or you get down. But I will say this. Let me put a disclaimer. I played in the old school NFL. Not this new rules where you can't. Blindside was like that was part of the game. Everybody enjoyed blindside hitting. I mean, you have Hines Ward and some of the older receivers that when they had the opportunity to blindside a linebacker, they would. Now it's against protocol, which I think is a good thing.
First down and out of bounds, so you don't get blindsided.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Or a concussion.
Or that.
We'll be back. So serious.
But that happens.
A protocol.
The concussions happen. I think that I had more concussions in high school than NFL. Yeah.
Does that explain it all?
Are we done?
Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
We have one more question, sure, and then we have to do a break.
Okay, but this is kind of a little off subject, but I do want to say you're in great shape, and I think it would be so important to our audience to understand how you've maintained that now that you're not playing football every day.
Always back to appearance with Leisa.
Well, I work out every morning. I have a whole gym in my garage that I work out at, and I read and I just work out, and then I work. So it's just one of those things. And I raised 3 kids, so I don't know what burns more calories. So your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, but you are taking care of yourself. That's
absolutely.
First down and out of bounds. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
We loved having you.
We loved having you. We may invite you back. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope I've done well enough.
You could be our commentator if you want.
I'll be the legal commentator.
You can be the sports guy that knows stuff as opposed to us.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay, finish.
Who think we know maybe a little more than we do. We know plenty, but there's a little more to that.
I honestly think that you two know more than me. I have to read up on everything that's going on. And I said, well, what did the Texans do? I don't know, because I don't keep up with it. But I read.
Stop saying that or you will not be invited back. And with that, we're going to a break.